Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night, where tonight we are live and exclusive on Top Split TV for round 2 of season 19 of Sunday Night Lights. Joining me once again in the commentary booth is the chaotic one himself, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, great to be back for another week of action.
Exactly right, we are, Alex, and it's going to be an interesting race here at the Catalunya National Circuit, the national layout, of course. Uh, Interesting little 11 corner configuration should provide some interesting races, and hopefully, we can see a little bit of battling as there's only a couple of places where you can really pull away from the field.
Yeah, absolutely. The tighter national layout does bring some interesting racing here. The tight, twisty sections of the closing stage are still there, but here's we see Gourlay going through turn 1 and 2. It's the shorter part, cuts out the first sort of 5 corners to bring us this reduced layout, but still plenty of action ahead. 20 drivers on track, as it turns out. About, what do we see beforehand? 150 drivers signed up. Quite amazing.
Yeah, indeed, Alex. I was amazed at that number. It's definitely the most that we've had sign up for a race since had the pleasure of commentating here with you. So it's great to see a lot of interest back in the Skippy in these hard times going on in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey, shout out and thoughts with everyone around the world who are battling the COVID-19 crisis. Everything just seems to keep escalating across the globe. Of course, parts of Australia are going into shutdown all this week and many people impacted. But tonight, light-hearted fun, bit of seriousness out on track, of course, if your head's in a helmet, out there to have a bit of fun, but a good race as well, hopefully, Corey.
That's exactly right, Alex. And having a look at the qualifying boards, we've already had a lot of people putting down laps. With the shorter layouts, a shorter lap, and so far, Benjamin Smith sitting up on the top of the timetables with a 1:21.886, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Smith, having taken out round 1, joins us again for round 2, looking to repeat the performance, and he's done pretty well so far, sitting on top of the pops with 3 minutes left in qualifying, showing us what ART is all about. And look, not far behind him is Top Split Racing Team's own Tim Gorkrocher. The three-plater car here tonight. He's coming around for his second lap, although he might be on a cool-down run. I'm not sure, because if he's done 2 laps or not. So he might still, with only a 10th behind Smith, might still have a crack at the top spot, Corey.
I think he's already had his run at that, Alex. Having a look at my timing monitor, it says he's done 3 laps, so that'll be his out lap and his 2 hot laps. But we do currently have Benny Simonson on track in the 4 car, who is still currently, as I think, on a hot lap. Alex?
Yeah, Benny Simonson returning to the series once again. Great to see Benny back. Of course, he was joined me for one of the podcast episodes way back in the day. Fantastic real-life racer who used to be quite frequent in the Skip Barber series. Looks like he's had somewhat of an hiatus, and he's joined us back here again tonight, looking to get his Skippy on, Corey.
Indeed, he is, Alex, as he's coming through. I think he's getting towards the final complex of corners here. It'd be 9, 10, and 11. And we'll be able to see what kind of a lap he can put here on his slightly warmer tyres. Currently sitting P8, 7, oh, nearly 8 tenths off the lead. Crosses the line. Where's that going to slot him?
22.4.
22.4. So that puts him up into P6 there, Alex.
Yeah, P6 on his return to the Skippies. Gorkroch is still out there trying to get his feel of the... Oh, here we go. Ben Smith lined up in his grid spot, just checking out what the run to turn 1 looks like from first spot on the grid. It's interesting to know, I mean, the tyres will be warmer, but it's good to see what some of the top drivers do. Notice how he's taking the inside line there. Fascinating to see, because he knows he might have to defend. What does it look like turn 1? There's a tip for young players there. Test it out before you have to do it in real life, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And I'm actually hearing from an unsourced pit reporter that Benny might actually have a little bit of a mechanical fault already, something to do with his upshifting paddle snapping, Alex.
Well, that doesn't help anybody if your upshift goes. So hopefully he can. Well, there's not much really he can do about that, is there? Other than grin and bear. It was 16 seconds left on the clock. I think everyone's just about done with their laps, so we might run through the grid for round 2 of Sunday Night Lights from Circuit de Barcelona. Barcelona, Catalunya. We have Ben Smith for ANZ once again, Evolution Racing Team. Someone remind me to fix that during the week if Ben's going to be a regular here on pole. P2 behind him, returning for the season, Tim Gorcrotch for Top Split Racing Team. Sasha Gourlay for Red Face Racing Team, also making his return. First appearance for season 19. Timo Vascalampi in P4 for Finland Club. P5 went to the first of the Spanish drivers in Pablo Espes for R70 team. Benny Simonson, as we mentioned, in P6 for UK&I. Julian Oros from Iberia in P7. Kevin Henderson, stalwart of ANZ Racing, in P8. Good qualifying for him. Donald Sabanal from ANZ, new to the series, at least to a Sunday Night Lights, in P9. Marcel Idrach from UK&I in P10. P11 went to Team Milo's own Russell Clark. Great to see him on the front page of the timesheets to begin the race. Manu Lucetta from Italy in P12 as we go over the page. Dion Santos in P13. Philip Sanders from ANZ in P14. Mark Wicks from ANZ in P15. Iberia's Daniel Vieira Camino in P16. European Salbox El Lipe. Oh, sorry, I butchered that, mate. P17. P18. UK&I's Graham Sesford. P19, Iberia's George Lopez Exposito. P19 is Ed Nui, who is also new to the series, did not set a time. Strength field tonight, 31.90, still building into the big numbers that we're chasing. And the all-important track temp, 31 degrees centigrade, pretty warm, but still plenty of action to keep us interested, I think, here tonight, Corey.
Oh, I think so, Alex. And it looks like just about all the drivers are on track. We're just waiting on to see if Benny is going to make it on track or not. He must only have a couple seconds left to try and get that mechanical fault done with. And he's there, and we're ready to go now, Alex.
Revs are rising. Red lights mean revs. Green lights means go. And we are away for lap 1 of 15 here tonight as we see the run down to turn 1 and straight across to that defensive line that we saw in practice was Ben Smith. And Gourlay tucked in behind him. Gorcrotcher going round the outside there. Interesting to see how that plays out. Everyone's seeming to get through okay. No major accidents by the looks of it, and everyone getting off to a reasonable start by the looks there, Corey.
It definitely looks like a clean start indeed, Alex. But I did see Manu in the 5 car drop back a little bit in the initial start, just locked up his brakes a little bit going into turn 1, and just gave up a little bit of ground there to the rest of the pack. But Benjamin Smith at the moment under pressure from Timmy Gorcrotcher into the hairpin. Now Sasha Gourlay is going to try and stick his nose up the inside of Tim Gorcrotcher. Not going to work out for him this time. But the racing is already on in earnest here, Alex.
Yeah, side by side behind to Vascalampi and Simonson, I should say. P4, car number 4, I should say. Simonson side by side still with Vascalampi as they come through the final stage, through the final corner at the tail end of lap 1. Looked like Gorcrotcher got caught up on the apex curbing at the hairpin at the end of the long straight out the back and just got a bit loose. Wasn't enough for Gourlay to get side by side enough to get the overlap to make the move. So once again, as we see Simonson poke the nose up the inside into the first turn. And does he get it done? If I can grab the camera view. No, he's run wide. I was all talking about him, but I missed the shot. He's outbraked himself by the looks and run wide. As side by side in front goes Vascalampi and Espes now side by side. And that's held them up because Simonson's straight back into it, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. And I also thought I saw Kevin Henderson make a quick little stop into the pits. Looked like he picked up some damage somewhere on the first lap, used up his fast repair. He is continuing on, but he is down in a very lonely last place at the moment, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. The front three now, Smith, Gorkrocher and Gourlay. Two ANZ drivers up the front. What more could we wish for? Chased down by one of the top Skippy drivers going around, Redface Racing's, Sasha Gourlay. As again, they're coming through the final stages into that final chicane. Look at Gorkrocher tucked right up behind Smith now, and the three cars chasing of Espes, Simonson and Oroz, Vascalampi now, they too enter on this front straight now, line astern into the start of lap 3, Corey.
And these guys at the second pack are playing it fairly nicely at the moment. You know, they're not jumping out too much, although as I say that, Espes makes a liar out of me, jumps out and takes the position away from Vascalampi. They're going into turn 1. Vascalampi trying to close the door to make sure Simonson doesn't get under him as well. Holds on for the moment, but there's just that one little position change to just shake things up a little bit here in the second pack. Going back to the first pack, everything's all lined to stir there as well, Alex. Not really much going on. Doesn't look like anyone's willing to try and make a move now that they've gotten themselves sorted out a little bit here. Although I say that, and Timmy Gorkrocher closed up absolutely completely to the back of Benjamin Smith there.
Yeah, close significantly under brakes there. It looked like Smith had a bit of a gap in the early stages of that straight, and then under brakes and under pressure from Gourlay behind. Gorkrocher closed right up, but then they're out to about 4/10. The gap there between Gorkrocher and Smith. Gourlay some 3/10 behind, and it compresses a bit into the final chicane there, but they're getting it done out the front. Meanwhile, back in P. What's that? 4, 5, 6 and 7. You've got Espes, Vascalampi, Simonson and now Oroz joining in somewhat. It'll be interesting to see now. Does Simonson poke the nose up the inside? He's got the good run. 2-car draft. No, leaves the Vascalampi. Yes, he will. He will. He's going to make it 3 wide into the first couple of quarters there. Espes doing the smart thing and backing off and leaving. Oh, he's come back for the over-under. A bit of contact there between Vascalampi into the rear. Just a little wiggle then. And then Espes caught up, and that's allowed Oroz to go through. Vascalampi into the rear of Simonson in the mid stages of turns 1 and 2 there. Doesn't look to be too much damage, although maybe a little bit to the rear wing of Vascalampi out of that. Looked like a great move from Simonson though there, Corey.
Oh, definitely. That was a well-inspired move by Simonson to go 3 wide to take that position. But at the end of the day, Alex, I believe that this is going to hurt them more than it's going to help them if they keep battling like this, because the leaders are already out to nearly 2 or 3 seconds in front of this pack, and they're not looking like they're going to be slowing down anytime soon. So these guys really need to get themselves organised here, Alex.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds and growing with that sort of running. Unless Simonson can bridge the gap, I reckon these 3 are gone. Unless the 4 behind can start working together, and even then I think they're going to struggle. These guys just line astern in front and letting Smith have his way with it, see if they can drag him away. But you can see already Class Simonson starting to show through, as there's no threat of moves being made this time other than perhaps Espes there defending from Oroz or taking the spot, and Simonson leading this pack of 4 cars chasing the front 3 as they start running around again. The mid stage is lap 5 this time around, Corey.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Alex, looks like things are going to be staying just a little bit more controlled here in the front 2 packs. So I'm actually going to jump on and see who we got sitting in 8th, and it looks like it is the 5 of Manu Lucetta. And he, as I said, on the first lap, went a little bit too deep into turn 1, locked up his brakes, lost a couple positions. He's made his way back up to 8th here, and he's got Dion Santosh as company here.
Yeah, 20-plated driver sitting in P9. Looks like a little bit of rear wing damage to Lucetta there, maybe hampering him a little bit. Tucked in behind them is VDR Team Milo's Russell Clark, up 1 spot into the top 10. He'll be enjoying his run tonight. He's got a bit of a gap behind Esposito there, and then Idrach.
Oh, Alex, on the corner there. Just saw the 1-plated car of Sasha Gourlay. on the inside of the final corner. I'm not sure what's happened to him, but that is a huge development in this race.
Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, we might go back a little bit further there. We just missed the action there. They were rounding, coming approach to the braking right-hander before going into the final chicane. Now in the braking zone into the final chicane. No, they're still clear there. Looks like the front two are going all right. Gourlay carrying a bit more speed perhaps. No, it seems to be all clear. Oh, they've both hit the sausage curb on the outside. Gourlay's gone into the wall as the rear stepped out. Gorecrotch are lucky not to do the same and may, in fact, be carrying damage depending on how that wound out for him. But that was not the way either of them wanted to get around there that time round. And he's also missed the pit lane too. So Gourlay in a world of hurt now, Corey.
Oh, that's exactly right, Alex. Having a look, he's already down to the 13th position, and he's going to be lucky to hold on to that as it stands. But, you know, that just goes to show that, like, even these really fast guys who have the 6,000 I ratings, you know, even they can make silly little mistakes like that someone like myself down at the 1,400 IR range would also make.
So you see Gourlay now break off to go into the pits. Obviously too much damage to continue driving that little Skip Barber around. That leaves Gorecrotcher and Smith out the front. Clear air. Gorecrotcher looking to hold on. He's down that magic 1 second mark behind and hopefully not nursing too much damage. As we see the second pack led by Simonson now. Vascalampi tucked in behind with Espes once again resuming station in this little battle with Autos now about 6 cents behind. Look at Espes, he's right up the tail now of Vascalampi. No doubt. Oh, I'll tell you what, this is close to a bump draft as you want to see, I'll tell you, and he will want to get his braking right. Beautiful turn in there from Simpson, showing how the pros do it. Of course, he's got a lot of real track experience there, former 24-hour Spa category winner. And showing us how to grab that corner at the end of the long straight out the back. Beautiful lines there, as I said. Meanwhile, Gorecrotcher now 1.3 seconds behind. Ben Smith leading and nearly 1.4 second gap now, and he is off to the races, Corey.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, from here, it's going to be Benjamin's race to lose. And, you know, with the skill set that he has in his wheelhouse, I don't think he will make the same mistake that Gourlay did. But, you know, it's going to be hard to tell whether, you know, a driver is capable of making that mistake or not, because everyone's capable. It just takes you to run that little bit too hard into the corner for it to happen. But I think Timmy Gorecrotcher here is going to be in real threat of possibly losing this second place here, Alex, because while he's not getting any draft from Smith, he's just going to be bleeding time to the four behind him, who are somewhat doing pretty all right here.
Yeah, I've just taken a few different camera angles on Gorecrotcher's car, see if we can't see any damage. Yeah, a little bit on the tailpipe there. You can see it's bent in a bit, but that's about it. Otherwise, he should be tracking pretty straight, but only the man himself in the cockpit will know for sure. As we jump back to this battle pack, fighting for the final step on the podium now between Simonson, Vascalampi, Espes and Oroz, and they are pretty much holding station behind Simonson, who's found his pace. Vascalampi, of course, absolutely no slouch in these cars, Corey, and he's doing a little bit more than hang on, but no doubt strategically lining himself for second half of the later stages of the second half of this race, which is what we're approaching now, Corey.
Yeah, well, that'll be exactly right, Alex. Vascalampi is definitely one of the more methodical drivers that we've got that race with us on a regular basis. And you can see him now trying to make the move up on the inside, going into turn one. He gets it done. At the same time, Espes was looking on the outside of Simonson, not quite going to have the move to get it done there. That's just going to put Vascalampi up into P3 at the moment. And now Espes putting all the pressure on the back of Simonson as they're coming up towards the back straight here, Alex.
Yeah, interesting that Vascalampi chose to make the move there, perhaps under threat from Espes, and that's what he was worried about. Simonson now really making that Skippy very wide as Espes looks underneath. Late defensive move there. Oh, I've lost connection. Beautiful. Hopefully that'll come back shortly. And we can continue. There we go, folks. Apologies. We lost connection there briefly. But we are back in running order. We've got Vascalampi ahead of Simonson now, and Espes really being defended. Simonson, I should say, defending quite hard into the braking zone at the end of that back straight, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. And it's be interesting to see what we're going to get here on the main straight. And they're coming to 6 to go this time when they cross the line. So he's still got 6 laps left for these guys to try and get themselves sorted out. But it looks like Simonson not getting the best of runs out of that final corner. This is going to open up the door for Espes to make his move. And in fact, he is trying to make that right now. They're getting very close. Oh, it looks like they're going to try and make it 3 wide again. Vascalampi a little bit too wise for that. But he did open up the door for Espes to try and make the move on him as well. But he used that wider line to gather a little bit more momentum to hold him off there, Alex.
I'll tell you what, there was some racing there. Simonson looking to make his own room there into turn 1 to make it 3 wide. And Espes having none of it, but eventually having to concede. What can they do down here into the braking zone? Vascalampi taking the defensive line, forcing Espes out wide. Simonson riding the limiter, looking to cut back underneath, but no, Espes cuts him off. Oh, I'll tell you what, I think I saw a bit of Simonson's nose flying off there. Maybe if we can see from the rear of Espes. No, just a bit of net code by the looks, and this battle continues. I tell you what, Corey, plenty going on amongst these guys.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And even though these guys are battling it out so hard, they are still catching up to Tim Gorcrotcher. As I said, the lack of draft is definitely what's going to be holding Gorcrotcher back as long as he doesn't have damage, because that'll be holding him back even more. And now Espes looking to make the move on Vascalampi down the main straight. Coming into turn 1, he's pulled up side by side, and it looks like this is going to be just a straightforward standard move going into turn 1. But it looks like Simonson wants to try and make the move as well. He's going to force Vascalampi out wide again. But can he hold on to that inside line? Very good driving for them not to make contact there on the switchback to the left-hander. And it looks like Vascalampi is going to hold onto that fourth for now. But Simonson now in a place where we don't usually see moves made. A very fast right-hander coming across the top of the hill, and he's got that move made on Vascalampi now, Alex.
Tell you what, folks, that is some top-shelf skippy action. I don't know how those guys didn't interlock wheels. Beautiful braking there from Simpson, closes right up under Espes, his rear wing there in the braking zone of the back straight there. But beautiful driving there, the switches, the cutbacks, the lines, and no contact. What more could you ask for in this calibre of race here tonight? Fantastic driving from Vascalampi and Simonson in particular. Plenty of respect shown, but hard racing. And we got a few more laps to go. We got 4 laps when they cross the line this time. I can't wait to see it how it unfolds, Corey.
It's definitely going to be very interesting, Alex, because these guys are definitely battling it hard already. I mean, we know that they're fighting for a podium, but it just goes to show that even just a podium here for the Sunday Night Lights means a lot. And I'm just having a little look in the background here, Alex. It looks like the pack just behind this second pack here is also getting a little bit frisky with the moves.
Yeah, I'm watching the same thing.
Them coming down to the start, to turn 1 now. And it looks like Jorge is going to be getting pressured. And there's no move made just yet, but the 20 car there is definitely holding on tight to that 8th position right now. That's Dion Santos. And Russell Clark right behind these guys, also looking pretty good there in 10th position, Alex.
Yeah, these guys fighting out for the top 10 positions and making a good fist of it as we see changing positions up in that battle pack ahead. Espes still on the front there. Vascalampi and Simonson now battling, tucked in behind there with Oros having the ride of his life there, sitting in behind them, watching the show unfold with his popcorn in hand, no doubt. They've got a cup holder in these things now, I hear, Corey, so maybe he's got the drink and the elbow out the window at the same time.
Oh, I can imagine it now. Well, we got a modern day Peter Brock in the Skippy, and that's definitely not a bad thing to have indeed. Now you see, going very defensive is Espes here on the main straight. He's got to force Vascalampi to try and make the move around the outside, which is very smart of him to try and do that. It looks like Vascalampi might actually just about have him cleared going into the corner. All Vascalampi has to do now is just hold on strong on that outside line. He's got the inside for the next corner. Alex, he just made a very masterful move there going into turn 1.
Oh, he's clipped the curbing. It's opened the door. Simonson now probably got the run of the three of these. The bigger the runs. Had to lift on the entry into the corner, onto the back straight there. Don't want to run too wide there. There's a slowdown on the outside as we see Vascalampi once again take the defensive line, but he's left the door open, Corey. He's left the door open into the hairpin. The left-hander at the end of the straight. This guy, how was there not contact there? 3 wide on the exit of the left-hander at the end of the straight. Oh, there it is. It was always going to happen. It's Simonson going through. You got Vascalampi facing the wrong way and Espes as well. Why don't we go grab a replay there? I don't know how they made it that far through there, to be honest. They've got through the left-hander at the end of the back straight. And then Vascalampi's coming across to take the driving line into the next corner. The rear stepped out a little bit. It's probably, it's hard to say. It's hard to see from that angle whether Espes was too far to the right or Vascalampi was too far to the left. And Oros, who was just somewhat minding his own business at the end of that pack, he's ended up in the midst of it as well. And that's really just left Simonson out on his own. Running the race there. Now the next battle pack that we've got to watch here is led by Esposito, is it? Yes it is, as he ducks into the first corner there. Tell you what, we've lost, no, Russell Clark's still in there, leading Team Milo driver here tonight. And this is a battle pack of 5, but still 1.5 laps to go. We see Smith out by some 3.5 seconds. From Gorecrotcher, with Simonson now running a lonely race in third, nursing a bit of damage no doubt, but still carrying on regardless. Oros sitting there in P4. Vascalampi now, he's getting chased down pretty hard with Espes tucked in behind with no rear wing. That leaves this pack, they're going to get him. They're going to catch up, these guys, and they're hunting very, very hard as a pack. See if they can't get in the top 5, Corey.
Well, it's going to be very possible, as you said. Espes there missing his rear wing, but one person who was definitely a beneficiary of that coming together that we saw, Alex, was Julian Oroz up into 4th now. This is probably going to be one of the best results that he's going to have all week. Definitely looking very strong up there, but this second pack is definitely hunting down that number 6 car, Alex, as we got our last lap now.
Yeah, last lap this time round. What are these boys going to do? They're going to battle it out. Of course they are. It's the last lap, Corey. What else would they do as we see the 12 car come up the inside, forces the monster livery Idrak a bit further out, is it? No, it's Esposito forced out, but he comes back up the inside. Does young Esposito, beg your pardon, it is Idrak and Lucetta. The 12 car of Idrak now taking the right-hand kink on the approach to the back straight. The monster liveried car 8 of Esposito forced to the outside. What's Clark going to do? Tucked in behind these two. He's going to come on the inside now. There's nothing there for him. And these guys, they're not battling too hard, but they're not going to catch Vascalampi either at this stage. Espes, though, he's gone by. I don't know whether Vascalampi's just let him by as a courtesy of redress or not.
Oh no, Alex, he did not just let him by. These guys have been battling it out since turn 1, and we've got a big dive coming into the chicane. Smith has already won the race, Gorecrotcher P2, and these guys are just fighting it out for this 4th and 5th position, or 5th and 6th, sorry. Oh, even across the line now, wheel to wheel there, Alex. Big blue after in the pits, I'm sure of it, Alex. And incredible racing by these two at the end there.
Yeah, was it indeed. Ben Smith, of course, taking out the win. Why don't we go back and see if we can't see him come across the line. I caught the tail end of it. This is his run down to the finish, of course. Pretty lonely race once they got separated there. Gourlay and Gorecrotcher, of course, catching that final curbing as we've just seen Ben Smith go by it his last time round. That's the footage there of the Evolution Racing Team's Ben Smith taking out the win, followed by Top Split Racing Team's Tim Gorecrotcher in P2, having a bit of a lair up at the end. Simonson, a hard-fought P3, it has to say. I was really impressed with Simonson's return to the series. Oroz taking the light there, and then these two clowns, Vascalampi and Espez, rubbing shoulders all the way to the line, and perhaps the boys. Yeah, they might have a bit of a chat after the race. I haven't got the server chat turned on, but I imagine there's a bit being said. Now let's take a look at our results now for round 2 of season 19 of Sunday Night Lights. Ben Smith once again 2 from 2, flag to flag victory here. In fact, he's got everything. He's got pole. He's got the win and the fastest lap, you might notice down the bottom. So he's got the Triple Crown here tonight. Evolution Racing Team's Ben Smith. Tim Gawcrotter, a great return to this season for Top Split Racing in P2. P3 tonight, another returning driver, Benny Simonson. Great to see him back in the series, and a good result. Fantastic drive, I thought, in amongst the action throughout. Julian Oros from Iberia, leading Iberian driver at his home track, Catalunya. P4, great result. P5 tonight, Vascalampi, elbows out, Vascalampi here tonight. P6, the Iberian Pablo Espez for R70 team. P7, George Lopez Esposito, also from Iberia. So 3 in the top 10 here tonight for the local boys. P8, UK and I's Marcel Idrak. Who again we saw had quite a battle on his hand. Manu Lucetta in P9 from Italy. I said Italia. P10, the third of the ANZ drivers, leading Team Milo driver here tonight, Russell Clark. P11 went to Dion Santos. P12, Donald Sabanal, who's made his SNL debut in the top split here tonight. Going over the page, we had Ed Nui in P13, Mark Wicks from ANZ in P14, Kevin Henderson after having that early run through the pits in P15, Daniel Vieira Camino from Iberia in P16, Sasha Gourlay for Redface Racing. Not the return that he was looking for, I don't think. They're all the way down there in P17. Clipped that curb and into the wall, missed the pits and had to do another lap. That's cost him dearly. Philip Saunders in P18 for ANZ. Europe's Slabolks Lipe, and he's made P19 tonight. UK and I's Graham Sesford in NP20, rounding out your fields. Strength of field 3190. Ben Smith, as we said, with a 121.3 undrafted. That's fairly cooking, I would say, Corey around here, and a fantastic drive once again from Ben Smith.
Oh yeah, right from the get-go. I mean, we saw it right from the end of qualifying there, Alex. Benjamin Smith's race was just cool, calm, collected, and calculated that entire time. And when the two guys of Goldcrotcher and Gourlay behind him made that one small mistake, it was pretty much just written in stone that this was going to be Benjamin's race to win. And, great racing all around. But I think it's probably about time for interviews, so we'll probably get into them.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll bring up our race winner here tonight, Ben Smith, making it 2 from 2, taking out the Triple Crown tonight, pole, the victory and the fastest lap. Looked like after a busy start, mate, it was pretty quiet out there for you.
Did you have fastest lap? I'm very surprised about that. I thought someone in the draft might have got a quick one in, but yeah, Triple Crown. Well, that's very nice to hear. I was pretty stoked when I looked down. I don't know what lap it was, and there was like a 0.8 gap to Tim. So thought, head down, let's get out of the draft and just bring it home.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You did well. Yeah, fastest lap. There was plenty of action going on behind. I think the guys were tripping over themselves and not getting those quick laps, but certainly the consistency helped you, and like I said, took you to that quick lap, undrafted, which is a great effort in these cars. The track out there tonight, pretty tricky little layout with that chicane at the end. That brought the fellas behind you unstuck somewhat surprisingly, but you're able to manage it pretty comfortably out there tonight, mate.
I'll tell you what, when I first went out this week, I thought, wow, this is a really good combo, and I've just been smashing laps since, and it's just a whole heap of fun. There's a few different lines for each of the corners. I don't know if you saw late Tim was going on the brakes and the lap speed wasn't all that different. So you can take different lines everywhere and it just works out pretty much the same. So it's really good fun in these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. You're right. You could see the difference in braking, not necessarily compromising the exit speed too much. Look at a concertina a little bit, but then and then open out probably commensurately, so not costing too much, and certainly helping with the defence from the guy chasing behind. But unfortunate for those guys that they came unstuck the way they did. We were looking forward to a three-way battle towards the end there, but certainly we had a fair action behind as well. But listen, Ben, thanks for coming out once again, representing Evolution Racing Team, of course, and great to have you back on Top of the Pops. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, mate?
Well, I didn't give you guys a thank last week, but obviously massive thanks for putting on the broadcast. You're actually making more sport than a lot of the big sporting corporations at the moment, so congrats to you guys for putting on an actual show. So thank you. Thanks to the boys at Evolution Racing Team, and hopefully we'll be back again next week.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. We look forward to seeing that because certainly it's great to see an ANZ guy leading the way in our local soft race. So thanks once again, mate. We look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
There you go. Corey, that was Ben Smith doing it for the home crowd once again. Fantastic drive from Ben, and great to see him out there on track and doing it for the boys again.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Alex. This is 2 in a row now. He's going to start making a habit of it, and I love the way he's doing it. It's cool, calm, and collected, both on the track and in the interview booth. More than what we could say for ourselves, getting very animated, especially during that race, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, someone else out there on track who did it for the local team was Mr. Tim Gorkrotch. Tim, a little bit unstuck there in the early stages there, robbed us of a bit of a battle that we were looking forward to, but hung on and had a pretty clean and quiet race after that to bring it home in second.
Yeah, it was pretty good fun. Nice, nice to come back after a little break. Kind of like you boys with the commentary. I didn't race too much, sort of once we got past the middle of last season. So good to be back in touch and quali well. And I had a netco contact on turn one with Sasha, and I just picked up a tiny bit of wing damage. So once Ben got like that 1 second away, I just, it was 0.2 every lap, and it was just down the straights, and that was that, So a bit of shit happened, so to speak. But it was good. It was good fun, and yeah, I'll be back next week. That's for sure.
Yeah, mate, it was a good combo, I think, here this week, and brought out some great racing in the mid pack, and I thought that perhaps we might get the same thing up front with the two ANZ boys taking it to some of the best from overseas in Sasha Gourlay for Red Face Racing, of course, but wasn't to be, but certainly got our share of action nonetheless, mate. But thanks once again for joining us in the booth and out on track, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Let me think about that. No, not really. You boys, of course. But otherwise, great to be back, and hopefully we can build this up again to be as good as it was a couple of seasons ago. And in the absence of the race spot broadcast that was Saturday mornings, hopefully get a good number of people out to join us again and get that stuff up to 4 or 5K.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be back, and if the racing out on there in some of the different stages of this race is anything to go by, hopefully we'll attract a nice big following. Although, having said that, the numbers are still up. We had over 150 drivers sign up, which is a great sign for the health of the series. It's just about getting some of those top guns rejoining us. But thanks again, Tim, and we look forward to seeing you on track and in the booth in the coming weeks, mate.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Catch you then.
There you go, Corey. Tim Gorkrotch, of course, member of the Top Split Racing Team family, part of the broadcast team from time to time, and no slouch behind the wheel of a skippy.
Definitely not, Alex, and he doesn't show any signs of ring rust, so to speak. Definitely right on the pace right from the get-go. It's unfortunate that he had that damage early. He might have been able to stick with Benjamin Smith there otherwise, and probably could have made a little bit of a race out of that. But nevertheless, it was a great second place. I thought that second pack was going to catch him before they imploded. So top efforts to Timmy G for running with what was a subpar car and still pushing it to its absolute limit.
Yeah, great job by Mr. Gorkrocher. Now I will bring up
Right.
man in the middle of the action all through tonight. Now, Timu Vascalampi joining us once again. I'm going to remind you, it's a PG broadcast, mate. Look like there's some elbows out during the race here tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had some history from previous race with Pablo, so I wasn't maybe in the best calm of mind entering this race. And yeah, me, Pablo, and Benny ended up fighting at the start too much, and Benjamin and Tim got away. And then yeah, and when I got hit by Pablo at lap 13, I was like, again. But then I watched the replay, and it was 3 wide when he was inside. I totally missed that. There was no room for 2 cars, so it wasn't Pablo's bad that time.
Yeah, can I tell you, mate? There was some racing in the mid stages of that race. I couldn't imagine how the three of you were interchanging positions on the track and different lines, and there wasn't contact sooner. So it just goes to show the quality of the racing out there, from at least the spectacle that was put on for the viewers at home.
Yeah, it was fun for sure. It didn't feel too risky most of the time. Last lap was, of course, a bit interesting. I don't know what happened there. Maybe I was a bit angry. But yeah, haven't driven much this week, so it's okay to have at least some kind of race and good racing.
Yeah, that's right. Looked like a lot of fun out there, mate. So hopefully more of that to come in the future. Of course, team are taking care of the scoring here for season 19 of Sunday Night Lights, which is greatly appreciated. But before we let you go, mate, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
You guys and Skippy people.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Timu. And congrats on a good race and a good fun night out here tonight as we see a bit more of the early stages and contact. But again, we look forward to seeing you out there on track next week.
Yeah, see you.
There you go, Corey, Tim Vascalampi supporting the series this season with the scoring, as I mentioned, and also on track with some spectacular action for the folks at home.
Oh yeah, Vascalampi was definitely in the middle of it. Very quietly spoken when it comes to talking to the man, but his racing speaks volumes, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little bit angry there at the end, considering the racing they had. But it looked like it was fun nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, that's a bit of fun, guys. There's 15 very fast laps around here these days, and in this category, in this series, and the guys put on a great show at the front at the start, and then in the mid pack throughout. So it was a great display, and it really shows what this category is all about. But hopefully next week we can start seeing some more of this action and some more of our familiar faces rock up and join us once again. But for now, Corey, what do you got coming up in the week? You're still with me, Corey? I think we've lost. Oh, there we go.
I'm back. On Wednesday around my lunchtime, so that's about 11:30ish Western Standard Australian time. You guys can catch me over at my commentating channel, the twitch.tv underscore twitch.tv/Aussie underscore sim underscore commentator for the Texas round of the Output Racing League. You get to see me handle the broadcasting all on my own. Apart from that, we've got NIS on Friday over at my personal channel, and also Thursday night ODSE round number 3, 360 Sprint Car Power Series from the Kokomo Speedway. Find that over at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13, Alex.
Beautiful, thanks, Corey. And of course, all things Top Split on your screen at the moment. We tried to do a bit of an enduro here this week, but came unstuck early on, so went and had some fun after on track. Hoping to get back into the Skippy actions soon on this very channel, Top Split TV on Twitch. The other details of where you can find us, most importantly, of course, the Top Split Discord channel where we do the broadcast and the interviews from, and the Top Split YouTube channel where you will find this and every other series of Sunday Night Lights in the history of the joint that we could ever find anyway. All right, folks, that'll about do us for this week. Thank you once again, Corey, for joining me in the booth, and everyone at home and on track for supporting the series. I've been your host, Alex McKellar. Joining me once again in the booth was the chaotic one himself, Corey Steinhauser. And until next week, I will say ciao for now.